Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Sunshine Coast Regional District regular board meeting for May 22nd, 2025. It's 1:22 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We're running a little bit late today just because we had a technology session over lunch here. And I would also like to acknowledge that Sunshine Coast Regional District is located within the traditional territories of the Shishel and Squamish Nations. Directors, we do have an agenda in front of us today. There are no late additions to the agenda. Any changes from directors? If not, I'll look for a motion to adopt as presented, please. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. A motion to receive all reports and communications, please. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. First up, we've got item 3.1, which is the regular board meeting minutes for May 8th. And just before we adopt, directors, are there any errors or omissions in those minutes? If not, can I have a motion to adopt, please? Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business? Not seeing any hands up. We're going to move on. We don't have any presentations or delegations today. So we'll move straight into item 6.1, which is Committee of the Whole meeting recommendations 1 and 2 and 4 through 8 of May 8th. Just before I call for a motion to endorse the block, I am going to pull recommendation 6 for further discussion. Directors, are there any others that you wish to pull for further discussion? If not, can I have a motion to endorse recommendations 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8, please? Sorry, recommendation 3 was previously dealt with. My apologies. Anyways, can I have a motion to endorse? Moved, seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Regarding recommendation 6, on page 11 of the agenda package, I know there was quite a lot of debate and discussion about this item, and I think, you know, in having time to contemplate it and re-review it, I'm not really in favor of moving forward with the item that is recommendation 6. I think if the SCRD wants to submit to the Legislative Reform Task Force that there are things we would like to change about the process, that's one thing. But I think in the bullet points that we have identified, they actually have been identified and, you know, touched on in the consultant reports from Urban Systems that the town of Gibson's received. So those are public documents on the town's website. And so I'm actually not in favor of moving this forward. Recommendation 6. Director McMahon.
Thank you. I would prefer to move it forward because I did not feel that the reports adequately represented any SCRD concerns. However, this is a problem with the process, is that the SCRD should be a party in this process rather than consultants hired by the developers who are applying for the boundary extension, who, you know, may have a vested interest in a particular direction. And I didn't, I mean, the reports covered a lot, but I didn't feel that they adequately covered the ground. So, but I'm not going to argue it all day.
Thank you. Director White.
I'm not going to argue it either, but I just want to help frame this decision for everyone already knows what I said last meeting. But for the other directors, I hear from Director McMahon that the reason for bringing this forward is she feels the report by Urban Systems, which is a really reputable consultant that the town uses a lot and the town oversaw, is inadequate. And I would just urge all directors to consider that if the vote is positive towards this, this organization is collectively saying that report is inadequate and this process was inadequate. And that's definitely how we're going to be taking it as the town of Gibson's, which is unfortunate. I mean, I hope that there's details provided about the inadequacies, and I hope, I mean, every director can really get behind that considerable position that's going to be made by one local government to another.
Thank you. Director Stanford.
I'm just not interpreting it the same way. I mean, I read this as the process requires a more robust review for both parties. And that's what I'm hearing. This isn't a question of whether a particular company is inadequate or not. It's whether or not the process itself requires some more review so that both parties feel that their processes are reflected in the report. So it's not to the person, it's to the process, which is mandated by the province. So that's how I'm reading this.
Thank you. Director McMahon.
Thank you. Pretty much the same thing. The process is a problem, and it's a provincial process. It's not the fault of the consultant, it's not the fault of the town, but it's a poor process where the regional district is not well represented. And it's not our decision at the end of the day, it's the province's decision, and that's fine. They'll make the decision.
Thank you. Director Inkster.
Yeah, just Chair, some clarification for your reintroduction of this motion. Did you just want to sever the AVIC Legislative Reform Task Force? Because that's what you spoke to.
Nope. Recommendation 6 is the one that I pulled, and which is that the committee of the whole
yeah, okay.
recommend that the province be informed that the SCRD has questions about implications regarding the town of Gibson's boundary extension application as follows. It's just that recommendation that I pulled. So that's the one that we're
Okay,
discussing
6
now.
rather than 5. Sorry about that. They were both
Yep.
speaking to the same issue. Okay. I didn't hear enough from you as to why you pulled that. I wasn't clear. Can you add anything more? I mean, it's a big deal to pull, as the chair, to pull recommendations, so.
You know, at the time that we were originally discussing this, the motion sort of came up that morning. You know, we did have some conversation. You know, we did end up not endorsing all of the bullet points that were initially brought up. And we did change the language, you know, from concerns to questions. But, you know, Mayor White actually challenged me the other day to ask if I had read the reports. And I had skimmed the reports when the topic first came up several months ago. But I hadn't read the reports in light of the recommendation that we had made as a committee. And so I went back last night between my other meetings and I read through everything and I sort of put everything together in a bit of a summary from the issues that I was sort of seeing and wrestling with. And I think from that perspective, I don't think this motion is necessary or helpful or collaborative from a regional perspective. And so, you know, like I say, recommendation 5, the idea that we want a little more input into the legislative process if the province is going to change the process, I think that's totally fine for us to talk about. But I don't really want to get into, you know, we have issues with this application or this process with this entity because of this, and this. Because we're not, at the end of the day, the decision maker on it. It's the province, it's the electorate of the town of Gibson's, and it's the town of Gibson's council, ultimately. So I'm no longer supportive of the recommendation, I guess is what I should say. And if the rest of the board wishes to endorse it, then so be it. Director Stanford.
Yes, looking at that, having heard that explanation and looking at this recommendation by itself, after stating my understanding the purpose is to look at the process in general through the province, this specific recommendation is very clearly about this exact situation. It's not about the process. It's about the report from the town of Gibson's and its specific concerns or questions about that. So in that way, it doesn't really follow what I would like to see, which is a process that allows for a more collaborative option from the province that recognizes there's two sides on these kinds of boundary adjustments. So for that reason, I would probably not support it.
Thank you, Director Stanford. I'm going to go to Director Lee because he hasn't had a chance to speak on it yet.
I kind of remember the discussion back when we did pass it. And looking back at recommendation number 5 and then recommendation number 6, it seems to me recommendation number 6 is one of the reasons we did number 5, that it's part of the discussion about the fact we'd like to look at all this to make sure this doesn't happen in the future. I don't think it's a shortcoming on anybody's part. It's just it would happen no matter where we were when you're only seeing one side of a discussion. So I think number 5 probably handles it for me, what I'd like to see happen.
Thank you. Director McMahon.
And I think recommendation 6 could have been better worded. I apologize for that, but I'm not going to try to reword it now. I think that would not be a useful use of our time, so let's just call the question.
Well, first of all, I would need somebody to move endorsement of that recommendation. Director McMahon is moving endorsement of that. Is there a seconder for that? Thank you, Director Stanford, for seconding it. I think we've thoroughly exhausted the discussion on the item, so I will call the question. All those in favor of recommendation 6? And those opposed? And that is defeated. Director McMahon was the only vote in support, so, okay. Thank you. Moving on to item 6.2 in the agenda. That is the Electoral Area Services Committee recommendations 1 through 6 of May 15th. Directors, before we endorse the block, are there any that you wish to pull for further discussion? If not, can I have a motion to endorse the block, please? Moved and seconded by, thank you, Director Bax. Any discussion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. And then moving on to item 6.3, which is the Special Electoral Area Services Committee meeting recommendations number 1 and 2 for May 15th. Directors, do you want to debate either of those separately? If not, I would look for a motion to endorse the pair. Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 6.4 in our agenda. It's a request for a further exemption for Alberg Productions S2 Incorporated from the SCRD noise control bylaw. I know, did you want to introduce it or questions if we have any?
I'm happy to introduce it, Chair, but you've seen requests from this production company before. There's been some discussion about this, and I think the report stands.
Thank you. We did offer them a sort of a blanket exemption previously, but this falls outside the hours of that, so that's why it's here as an additional request. Directors, any questions about the report? And if not, would anybody like to make some motions that might be located on page 18 of the agenda? Director McMahon?
Sure, I'll move the recommendations on page 18.
Thank you, and I've got a seconder, a couple seconders. Any further discussion? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. All right, item 6.5, Langdale Wellfield Well Development Contract Amendment. Directors, this is here for a small increase in the contract, only by $20,000, but because of the size of the contract, it has to come to the board. Manager Waldorf is here if we've got any questions, but directors, I look to you. Any questions? Or would somebody like to make a recommendation? Director Gavious?
Yeah, I'd like to move the recommendations on page 23.
Thank you very much, and I've got seconder for that. Director Stanford, you were just moving you were going to move it? Okay. And so this is going to be voting all directors as a weighted vote, as shown on the agenda cover. Any debate or discussion on the motion that's on the floor? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Manager Waldorf. All right, moving on to item 6.6, which is a community-to-community grant application. And this one comes from our CAO. This is on page 29 of the agenda. I look to the CAO to see if you want to say a few words.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this opportunity arises once a year, and so we're just putting forward a proposal for an application to support some of the work we're doing with the nation, and especially in regards to the various aspects of the water and reservoir projects.
Great, thank you very much. Director Bax.
I'd like to move the recommendations that appear in 6.6.
Thank you for that. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Director Gabius. Any further discussion on the motion? If not, this is voting all directors, one vote each. I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, and that ends the reports. Next up, we have item 7.1, which is a piece of communications regarding the Shishal BC Land Use Planning Table from April 29th. It's just here for information and to sort of highlight the process and provide some dates and times of when the various meetings and sessions are happening. I think for the public, the adoring public that follow along these meetings, the next opportunity for them, it would be Thursday, June 5th, 2 open houses at the Seaside Center from 2 to 4 and 5:30 to 7:30. Directors, any comments or discussion about this correspondence? Seeing none, I suppose we will move on. We have no motions, we have no bylaws. So let's do directors' reports because we skipped them last meeting. And I'm going to start with Director Lee.
Thank you, Chair. We had our regular May Day up in Pender this weekend. I was unable to attend because of my back was kicking up pretty bad, but my alternate did attend and sent me a series of pictures as it was going on, and it's too bad she couldn't just make this report for me, but I'll tell you, it looks like the rain didn't bother anybody. It seems like the kids seemed to like it, and so it was fairly well attended. And I'm a member of the Harbor Authority, and we put a parade in there, a float in the parade. We won second prize, which was thanks to a couple of very keen members of the Harbor Authority. So it was fun. It was another successful May Day. And that's about it. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Director Lee. Every year, I swear I'm going to get up to Pender Harbor for more of these activities, like April Tools, the May Day, like everything that's going on, except that everything's always on a Saturday when I'm supposed to be working. So hopefully in the next year, when I'm not working Saturdays anymore, I'll actually be able to get up there more.
Yes, Chair, you're formally invited up to Pender Harbor Days in August.
In August, good to know.
I'd be
Hopefully I'll
happy
be
to take you
available.
out in my boat to make sure you come.
Thank you. Director Inkster.
Thanks, Chair. Not much to report, except that the busy summer season starts with all the events, and there's been one or two events in Seychelles the last little while, working closely, a couple of them with the Seychelles Nation that our council's been involved in, but I'm not the inviter in this case, but I would certainly encourage the going forward for the directors to be involved in those events with us as well. And of course, as you know, Canada Day is coming up and all the summer events in Seychelles. So I certainly, as I always do, I encourage the directors from the regional district to take part in those activities with us at the District of Seychelles. Thank you.
Thank you. Director White.
I haven't done a mayor's report for some time, so I haven't put my thought to the last couple months, but last couple days are fresh on my mind. So we had a really great committee, the whole meeting at the town of Gibson's on Tuesday with some reports that have been really key to our whole term, like our whole strategic plan regarding water and planning. And I really encourage all the directors to check them out. Not even outside of the interest of the town of Gibson's, like just reading, for example, the complete communities assessment. I don't know if District of Sechelt received funding for that, but I'll leave that to the next somebody to answer that question when they report. But it's just such Urban Systems did it. Great work. Great work by our staff to support them and vet their work. It's just really accessible and really interesting, just all the metrics and the planning that is in that report concerning planning for growth, considering how we're meeting our housing needs, where housing should be in the town. And then, of course, related to that, there's some significant water reporting and direction in that agenda too, in terms of our One Water strategy, which was collaborative with the regional district, and there was a lot of acknowledgement to that from our staff, and looking forward to more collaboration. So that was really great to hear, and also an inclusion of talking about how there is a meeting planned to go over the strategy, staff to staff, very soon. So looking forward to that work going forward, because it's a really not only that report, but there's other water reporting in this agenda, the leapfrog model and aquifer groundwater monitoring here, which is really crucial information in terms of looking at water supply in that whole Gibsons area for the regional district and for the town of Gibsons, and the opportunities to collaborate on it. And then coming out of that too, we have finally our aquifer protection regulation too, which is going to be really key in ensuring that development, and when we're already kind of informally following these processes, but that development in Gibsons that is in the aquifer protection area really does some robust reporting and robust consideration of any kind of environmental impact on the aquifer in terms of the planning there geotechnically and hydrogeologically. So that's already what we're doing with one development that's in Lower Gibsons, and now we're formalizing that as an ongoing regulation. And in my understanding, it's probably the only one in the province. So it's a really groundbreaking work by our staff, and it's taken a ton of time. And I know I was just talking to our Director of Infrastructure Services, who was telling me after all this work, he's taking a little break, at least for the weekend. He's not available tomorrow on something that a meeting that I'm having with Ministry of Transportation. So they're well-deserved breaks after all this work. So pleased to report on that, and a fun one today. Well, it's not fun in terms of the frustration of it, but Jackson Davies, Constable, was visiting Gibsons from Beachcombers fame, and it was all about advocacy. We met with Patrick Weiler, talking about just the opportunity right now to promote the Beachcombers, because we see the interest in it still every day as people come and visit and ask where the Persephone is, or get their photos taken in front of Molly's Reach. MP Weiler mentioned that during the election campaign, the social media post that got the most attention for him, the most hits, was when he posed in front of Molly's Reach. So regardless of any cynicism any of us have, it's like, that show's so old, who cares about that anymore? There's still a lot of interest. So we really, especially considering tourism, considering economic benefits of promoting filming continuously on the Sunshine Coast as this being a really great place to present to Canada and the world. We're working with the MP and working with the Minister of Culture in BC and also Jackson in trying to get these episodes re-released to the public on a wide basis so that people can continue to celebrate Canadian culture at a time when that's so valuable. And we are considering the importance of made in Canada productions and made in Canada products. So also got 5 minutes in on trying to get some federal support for BC Ferries construction too. So that's what I was doing before rushing over here.
Great, thank you for that update. It's interesting because with the filming that's been going on for Murder in a Small Town as well, you know, the fact that you're hearing all of these local place names and local features like Molly's is referenced quite heavily within that show. Yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to see how long that show can go on and if that can sort of become like the next generation's beachcomber tourism driver. Yeah, it's fantastic work, and from what I'm hearing, everybody that's around it is loving seeing it going on. So, one question I did have for you though, the aquifer protection plan or the areas, is that something that has an interface for the SCRD as part of the OCP renewal process? Like as a referral, is there work that should be being done in areas E and F surrounding the town?
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's part of the discussions that are going on staff to staff, is just looking at the same kind of aquifer protection development permit areas. Like it's DPA 9 in Gibsons, and we're currently updating that, and it would be tremendous, to have a consistent approach, not only in the Gibsons area, Mount Elphinstone watershed, but it would make a lot of sense for aquifers for the whole Sunshine Coast, I think. So
Yeah.
hopefully that bears some fruit.
Right on. Thank you very much. Director McMahon?
Thank you. Following along on the subject of water, the Elphinstone Community Association, in conjunction with the Sunshine Coast Conservation Association, are calling for a moratorium on logging within the Aquifer 560 recharge area. And on May 9th, they met with our MLA/minister, Randy Neal, to request the deferral of logging until a water sustainability plan for this area is in place. The cut block of concern is TA 0159, which is scheduled for July. The BC Timber Sales came and met with the Community Association last month, and it was a civil and somewhat productive meeting, but it did not convince the community that logging is in our best interests in the watershed. So they will be looking for widespread support on this, possibly sending a letter of request to the SCRD and to the town for support on this matter. And I appreciate the advocacy work they're doing at the grassroots. The association is getting a lot more active, and that's terrific. On May 16th, I attended the Climate Caucus AGM, and it was interesting because I heard a report on their work raising climate as an issue in the federal election campaign, the Elbows Up campaign, and their upcoming advocacy work at FCM. So that was really educational. So that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Director McMahon. Director Gabius?
Thank you, Chair. I want to talk about the Salmon Release Festival, which happened last weekend, which is one of my favorite events on the coast. Amazing. It brings Shishal Nation, the young singers and dancers, lots of kids, and our MLA, Randino, was there and said something quite poignant, which is if we get the kids to fall in love with the salmon, then they'll want to protect it. And so it was really fun to see all the kids getting their little fry and getting them off on the slip and slide to the creek. And for us, for the SCRD as a water provider, I think these events are so great, like this education around water and water as a shared resource and as a precious thing that is essential to life. I think to get that ingrained in the youth, I think that's a wonderful event. It was great. Got to talk to the SCRD, who was there to talk trash, which is awesome, and Fire Smart was there as well, and had a lot of talk about invasive species and native plants. So lots of amazing nonprofits there, Sergeant Bay Society, Astronomical Society. So everybody, an amazing event, and they did such a great job. And I feel like it's getting bigger every year. And I was also at the SCAF, the Seashell Community Association Forum Emergency Preparedness Fair a couple of weeks back, which was super well attended. Spent a little bit of time there, and it was really great. I think emergency preparedness, local governments or in governments in general have a role in it, but also at the grassroots, there's so much that we can do to prepare ourselves. So nice to see the community associations putting that together and people really showing up and taking to it. So that's it for me.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I know that the community associations sold hundreds of those 72-hour go bags because, yeah, there's a huge pent-up demand for it. And for a lot of people, it was just the ability to access it or, have it in their faces when they are at a fair. Or I know they had a table rental at the mall at one point to promote the bags. And so that's work that they seem to be happy doing, and it gives them a focus. It seems like a lot of the times, a lot of the community associations are perceived in only sort of a negative context. Like they're always complaining or they're always, always have a problem with something. And I think emergency preparedness is giving them something that they can latch onto and that we as local government can help facilitate sort of a stronger bond with the community associations. And I think that'll pay out for everybody in the long term. So I'm going to go to Director Stanford.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just very briefly, I did have to step back over the past month, so I haven't been active in the community per se, but there's certainly a lot going on in Area F. But I do want to highlight something that's coming up on June 7th, 2 p.m. The West Houseland Community Association is putting in their own emergency preparedness meeting at Eric Cardinal Hall. And really looking forward to the same kind of positive, proactive process for neighborhoods to understand their role in this. And just, I did also attend Gibson's cow meeting 2 days ago, and it was a very informative reports about water coming out of Aquifer 560, which we share some of the lobes, learned about lobes. So thank you. I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Director Paul?
Thank you. I try to keep it a little bit short. Our corporate division started a new volunteer program called Serve the Swia. And their first event was a Fire Smart event to remove fuel on the ground around the Longhouse. They're planning on hosting more in the future and stuff like that. They got a decent turnout. I think it was a little bit of a short notice thing, and finding volunteers to work on the weekend is a bit tough sometimes. One of our wellness programs hosted a cyber safety or like social media safety thing for the youth that was attended very well hosted by our liaison officers, Brittany and Jay from the RCMP. The nation hosted its annual Mother's Day weekend event, which brings in vendors and services to pamper the women of the community, which always has a good turnout. The male one will be in near Father's Day, so we always have that, and it's usually pretty packed, lots of prizes, lots of events and stuff. The biggest thing that we had happen is two of our counselors, along with I guess it's a CEO of Renewal Development, Glenn Lewis, traveled to Venice to, I'm probably going to butcher this name, Binale event in Venice to receive award and present our Renewal Homes program that saved 10 homes that are up in Summer Park now. for eco-friendly and sustainable practices. So they had quite an adventure and stuff. And I believe that Glenn, and I don't want to speak out of turn on this because it's always a floating thing. I think he's trying to get legislation changed that big developers have to incorporate this in it. So if you ever want to read up on it, look at it, see if we can offer support or whatever, or just read up on it. Like they are trying to get legislation changed where big developers have to try to rescue homes, because a lot of those homes, you may not know it, have a lot of old growth timber in it that we've been able to save, and they've been amazing. They have been stripped down, updated to the most environmentally friendly stuff, heat pumps and everything else and stuff. And it's turning out to be a very good project, and we're looking to work with him more on a lot of other projects too, which hopefully we can work with local governments to try to provide other events or other needs sectors where either homeless or low income or workforce housing and stuff. So hopefully this keeps leapfrogging with other stuff, but yeah. That's it for me.
Great. Thank you very much. Director Bax.
Nothing to, oh, actually, no. So I began the month with a face-to-face meeting with our CAO, which I really appreciate the time that she puts aside to meet with the directors one-on-one. And it's a really good event to kind of blow off some steam sometimes. My newsletter comes out early every month, and if anyone is interested, you can get it through the Roberts Creek Community Association. And that usually talks a lot about what we are doing here at the regional district for my community. On the 14th, I attended the Seniors Transportation Work Group meeting, where I shared some of Rob Ringma's announcements about the expansion of our transit system. And also I heard from Nick Gaskin, who was our delegate this morning, about the expansion and the continuation of his transportation for seniors in the Pender Harbor area, driving seniors back and forth from Pender Harbor to Sechelt on errands 3 times a week, I believe. On the 18th, I had my truck washed by the Roberts Creek Fire Department, which was a pretty awesome event. It was a fundraiser for the Roberts Creek Volunteer Firefighter Society. They use the money for little extras to help the firefighters in any way they can in their lounge area usually. On the 20th, I was attended the official community planning committee meeting at the Roberts Creek Community School, and it was well attended. This group is chomping at the bit for more information about our OCP renewal, and I am more than happy to liaise with them and put myself between them and our staff. And so upcoming, we have an MLA open house coming up this Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Toreto office. And I'm hoping to find time to attend that. And on Monday, I will be attending the Joint Child Care Committee meeting once again. And I thank the board for your support of their 2025 action plan that we did last month or earlier this month. And that's about it.
Thank you, Director Bax. I have removed the MLA office open house from my list. So I also want to note the Roberts Creek Firefighter Society was at the SCAF Emergency Preparedness event selling sprinklers for your rooftop for dealing with approaching wildfire. So they're very active and they're very on point with what's needed out in the community. So just a couple things to report. The Sechelt Airport Master Plan came to council last night. We've sort of agreed to move forward, received the report. Staff are going to be coming forward with some sort of low-cost, high-value improvements that we can make to the airport there to both improve revenue generation and also just sort of generally improve the infrastructure there. We've got some issues with trees, obstacle clearances with trees, and that's going to be long-term work to sort out. Bill 15 briefing with Minister Ma and Minister Anderson on Friday, I think that was last Friday, talking about infrastructure in BC and sort of Category 1 and Category 2 projects to receive priority for provincial approvals. And Category 1 projects are going to be the like hospitals, the schools, they talked about some other provincial infrastructure, highways and bridges and things like that. And then Category 2 will be opportunities for local government or First Nations or things like that to apply for projects to be considered priority and sort of brought forward to the front of the queue when it comes to approvals. One thing it's not, which was brought up a number of times on the call, is it's not a means for developers to get ahead on building housing or, making money. This is entirely about the schools, the hospitals, the water projects, the things that we need to actually move this province forward for a growing population. The Sunshine Coast Community Forest held their election for chair last week. And so Kathleen Cities was acclaimed chair again for 2025. They had some BC wildfire faller training that they were able to partner with BC Wildfire. So every year they reach out to train fallers, and the timing doesn't usually work out to be able to take them into a cut block. But they do come in, BC Wildfire, in training these people, they do a bunch of falling for the community forest as part of their previously approved cut blocks, and there's no cost to the community forest to it. So it's a good partnership, and so they're moving forward with a cut block associated with that faller training. They've got about 17,000 cubic meters that are in cutting permits that have been approved and are sort of ready to move forward with the rest of this year and the start of next year. And they're basically their AAC, their annual allowable cut. So they won't be able to submit more cutting permits until their forest stewardship plan is approved. And they could expect that to be sort of a 6 to 9 month process to get approved. So I think I will leave it there. And with that, we will move on. We have no new business. We do have to go in camera. So I'd look for a motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 91C, G, and K of the Community Charter. So moved. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? That is carried, thank you. It's just before we go in camera, there's nobody in the virtual gallery. And there's nobody here in the room with us. So we will just take a moment to go in camera. Thank you for your patience with that extremely long in-camera session. We are back to our open board meeting of Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. That concludes our business for today. May I have a motion to adjourn, please? Moved, seconded, all those in favor? And that is carried. We'll see you guys at the next one.